Hello Internet, I'm me. And this is something a bit different. I know I've been late on my Go-Onger reviews, as in I've completely ceased to do them, along with our Gekiranger, even though I think that's ended now. I haven't been keeping up. Sorry. Sorry for the crap lighting. One of my bulbs and my lighting fixtures broke, so ain't got a replacement for that, so terrible lighting time. Woo! This is a great comeback. And I've been going through a lot of crap. So, what do I do when a lot of crap comes down on me? I watch Super Sentai Henshin and roll calls. Yep, yeah I do. They pick me up. They are pretty much an announcement to the audience and to the enemies that the heroes have arrived and they are there to save the day. And honestly, that makes me feel good. It's the, oh my gosh, Superman's here to save us moment. It's that moment in time where you feel good that the heroes are finally here to kick some serious ass and save the day. So yeah, whenever I feel down in the dumps, I watch a bunch of Henshin and roll calls. And in doing so, in my recent time, I've come up with, well, my top 5. Or I've started thinking about my top 5. And honestly, what better way to come back when I haven't done reviews than to do a Super Sentai top 5, personal top 5, of Henshin and roll calls. If you have your own favorites, please let me know in the comments section. And first off, let's get some honorable mentions out of the way. Starting with Goseiger and Dairanger. Mostly because, well, the Goseiger personally just gets me hyped up because they're just so hip and cool. But their Henshin and roll call isn't that dynamic or dynamic. So, yeah. And Dairanger because, dear God, theirs is terribly simple, but yet terribly classic. So, here are the honorable mentions.
Go-Onger Red, Go-Onger Blue,
Go-Onger Yellow,
Go-Onger Green,
Go-Onger Pink,
Super Sentai, Go-Onger.
5人揃って
Oh yes, always enjoyable. Now, on to the top 5. Now, you're probably wondering, what is his number 5? Well, if you ever felt silly, the first time you really feel down in the dumps, you want to feel silly. You want to feel happy. And honestly, the most silly and happily put together, but yet very impressive and dynamic, Henshin and roll call ever devised in Super Sentai, in my opinion, is the Bioman Henshin and roll call. If you don't believe me, here's a look.
Bioman! Bioman! Yoshi! Bioman!
Bioman, Bioman,
Okay, you gotta admit, that shit never gets old. Now, on to number 4, which is probably because, well, after that kind of silliness, you still want something a tiny bit silly when you're down in the dumps, but you want something that's also cool and badass, like Son Vulcan.
バルイーグルバルイーグルバルシャークバルシャークバルパンサーバルパンサー
Okay, now that we've gotten through with the more old Sentai and silly, you're ready to get into more of the hip and new and special effectsy Henshins. Now, this one I'm going to cheat on because, honestly, I don't like the Henshin and roll call process of the Sentai. But I do love their final Henshin and roll call process, which is the Goseiger. And this one always makes me feel like a real badass, or at least a really cool badass, as these angels finally take their last stand and do the coolest Henshin and roll call process their whole season. So, here you go.
嵐のスカイスポーゴセーレット
息吹のスカイスパワー五星ピンク
希望のランディックパワーゴセーブラック
恵みのランディックパワー五星イエロー
怒涛のシーズパワーゴセーブルー
Okay, now that after that really grandiose and bombastic final Henshin of the Goseiger, you kind of want something a little more badass and cool. And what is more badass and cool than samurais? Well, Kenpo fighters are pretty close too, and this is where I come into my problem. I actually couldn't come up with the number 2 who could take the spot, because I both love Shinkenger and Gekiranger's Henshin and roll call and seasons equally, though many people will argue that Shinkenger was better or worse. I kind of see them as both on equal ground, because, well, Gekiranger was my first introduction into true Sentai, and Shinkenger was the first full season of Sentai that I watched and got excited that it was being adapted in America. Foolish me. So, I just tied them. Here you go. Both Gekiranger and Shinkenger.
ビキビツ登場 響け獣の叫びビーストオン
研ぎ澄ませ獣の刃ビーストオン
真剣レッド芝タケル同じくブルー池波龍之介
同じくピンク白石真子
同じくグリーン谷千秋
同じくイエロー花織琴葉
天下御免の侍戦隊
シンケンジャー
ファイ
にみなぎる無限の力アンブレイカブルボディ激レッド
日々これ少女心を磨くオネストハート激イエロー
技が彩る大輪の花ファンタスティックテクニック
激ブルー
刺激お礼流我が愛を尽くすアイアンウィル激バイオレット
愛を磨いて己の未来を切り開くアメージングアビリティ激ショッパー
燃え立つ激は
正義の証中堅戦隊激レンジャー
Okay, this is it. The number one. Which one? Which Henshin and roll call truly makes my blood boil? Makes me feel awesome and want to go out and punch stuff? Which of these great Sentais truly embodies me and who I am and the heroics of Sentai and makes me get up out of my seat and go and face the world with a smile on my face and a punch in its balls? Dairanger, of course. Why not? This Sentai was actually a very smart Sentai in that it actually did the whole Kamen Rider two-part episode thing a lot. And most of the time, you didn't see the Henshin and roll call until the second episode, or the second part, to where it kind of made you so used to not seeing the Henshin and roll call that when they did Henshin and roll call together as a team, it was actually a big deal, and it made it seem more heroic and more badass. So, without further ado, my number one pick, the Dairanger! Kirok Tenshin!
ユレンジャー天下制よ主戦者天元戦最後天魔レンジャー天獣制少子不眠レンジャー天地制ハッ
フォーレンジャー旋風星2天に輝く5つ星
補正戦隊
And that's pretty much my top 5. Yeah, I'm sorry about this camera. It is shitty, isn't it? And no lighting whatsoever. It's like I'm poor or something. Anyway, I'm feeling better, and I hope you guys feel better too. Again, if you have other Henshin and roll calls that you think are better than the ones I picked, please let me know in the comment section. List your own top 5 if you want, or make your own videos and make a video response. I'll approve it. I don't care. Until next time, y'all. Peace.